welcome to my new office. This isn't how I expected to introduce you. Actually, I've actually filmed other vlogs where I introduced the office that I didn't end up releasing yet. But this is now the first office video. First off, fit check. Bear Creek Lake. I got the Cutie Mayo. You know, I got the Salomon boots. I had never heard of this brand of boots until I picked these up on sale at REI. And my brother Victor also wears Salomon and apparently shot like a commercial for them. I guess they're from New York. I got these pants from Bear Creek Lake, which is a state park here in Virginia. The Cutie Mayo came from, I can't remember the store, but I got these at an Artist Alley. The shirt is also from an Artist Alley. I know the artist name is on here, Swami Tsunami. Dealing with anime fans, you can never be subtle. You really just gotta be very blunt if you want people to understand something, no matter how clear you feel like it is, no matter how clear, like how obvious it should be. You really got to be upfront with anime fans and break down the logic and really explain why things are the way they are. They're just not going to get it. As evidenced by how much goddamn unnecessary legwork, what I consider unnecessary legwork, goes into the world building of the average anime. How many dialogues tend to be necessary to make a point. I'm never watching your favorite anime. Statistically, it is highly improbable. If not, I mean, it's not literally impossible, but you might as well consider it as an impossibility that I'm going to watch your favorite anime unless it's something that you are like, no, I won't even say any unless. Probably not. Probably I'm just not watching your favorite anime. Ever. Or even ever again. If I've already seen it, I'm probably not watching it again. There are some exceptions, but let me talk about why you shouldn't consider those exceptions. And you should just live in the idea that I won't watch your favorite anime ever again. You should really live in that idea. I live my whole life under the feeling that I could just evaporate at any moment. I don't know really what the rules of reality are or the rules of my body. There is such a thing as sudden death. There are times where people just die and we don't know why. There are so many ways you can die that we do know about. So many things that are out of your control. You know, I live in a dense and chaotic kind of environment, not as much as most big cities, honestly, but enough that there are lots of dangers, just existing within the world. So I have always thought, I might just evaporate today, Let's try to make sure that I go out with, a good feeling as much as I can, I often talk myself out of negativity by thinking, well, this isn't how I want to be feeling when I die, I'd like to be doing something good or to have just done something good, to have just had, a great day, And I'm not a difficult person to amuse necessarily. It's not hard for me to have a great day per se. A lot of things can prevent me from having a great day or, cause my day to go worse. But, it doesn't take, an extravagant effort to make myself have a great day is what I'm trying to say. But I am very hyper-fixated on making sure I do, in fact, have a great day. Not a unpredictable of quality day, not a midday, not a decent day or whatever. I really want to make sure that something I did today is in some way enlightening or enriching for me, that I feel like I'm taking the feeling of today into the future with me and not just sort of forgetting about it or, feeling like I didn't really do anything for a whole day, which is how I felt about a lot of my life, So I really try to avoid as much as I can and that feeling of stagnation or boredom or just kind of identical days, And sometimes it can be really difficult to avoid that circumstantially. But again, I'm doing everything in my power to make every day feel unique, make every day feel memorable, make a statement as often as possible, affect the way that people see the world, affect other people's days as often as possible. Just, I'm always trying to magnify the effectiveness of what I'm doing. Now, like I talked about in some of my recent videos, I have done a lot of anime analysis because it's kind of an easy vehicle for me to communicate with other people when I'm not good at doing it when the circumstances are more complicated. Like actually interacting with real people who have entire, real lives with all these fractaling effects of why their lives are like that is just way more complicated than understanding a story and communicating with other people about that story. Something that's easy to understand and both of you understand it and you can have a conversation about it, and in a way you get to know one another through that conversation because of how each of you differently sees the thing. But it has to be easy enough to understand that you can project onto it in that way in the first place. If it loses you with too much detail, you're not going to be able to connect with it as easily. So anime for me has been this connecting rod, but it is also very limiting because in terms of being able to express myself, I'm not from Japan. I'm not from the world of animation. I have not gone into the world of animation, nor am I interested in it as a career. There was a time it was on the table as like one of the things I thought I might be interested to do. And I do enjoy storyboarding. So it's not even that I couldn't have a job in the animation industry or be involved in animation. That's just not what I'm targeting. Mostly because of the way I see it on the industry side. I just don't think it's like at the rate it would take me to learn it and be good at it and be able to do anything meaningful, I just am not going to get enough out of it within my lifespan. Remember, I'm thinking of myself as might die tomorrow. So if I'm getting started on learning an entirely new hobby and then I die tomorrow, I'm going to feel like I wasted my fucking time, Whereas I know there's effective things I can do, things, great uses of my time, things that will definitely turn out results. And when you keep choosing those things over and over, you're kind of multiplying the effectiveness of that. So it gets harder and harder to change gears when you've really specced into something. And you could say that I've specced so hard into anime that it's hard for me to branch away from anime, but at the same time, I've always been specced into multiple categories. Anime is just the one that I built my career around, and even then, that was like after having done Pony. There were spurts of doing other things, there's always been more in it than just anime, and really making it more about myself and less about anime is where I've had the most success and where I've connected with the most people. But in order to talk about myself and for that to be relatable to other people, again, it helps to have these touchstones. And anime has remained a key touchstone for me because of the fact that so much of my audience comes from it, that you already know anime. And so if I make those references, I know that at least the people who I definitely know get those references. So, I keep anime as part of my language because I know that that's who I'm speaking to still. But I feel like y'all don't listen. Like y'all anime fans, like you hear what you want to hear, but you don't listen to what's actually being said. And that's kind of what makes my videos necessary, like what makes analysis necessary. But it's frustrating because I feel like you're not listening to what the anime is saying and then also not listening to what the analysis is saying, And so there's no ability for me to, like, progress you along with me, Like, if someone is my friend in real life, if somebody's, like, next to me all the time, I would engage them in everything that I'm interested in. Right? Like, if you're going to spend all your time around me, you're going to have to listen to the YouTube videos I like and listen to the music that I like and listen to, to the watch the anime that I like. And I might do some of the stuff you like as well, but if I don't like that experience and I keep having to put up with it, I'm going to eventually be like, hey, I don't want to do this with you. You got to find somebody else to do this with, you know? Or if you don't like spending time around me, it's like, you should probably go do something else. You know, like, you probably shouldn't hang around me all the time if you don't enjoy all the stuff that I enjoy. And there's a lot of people who, in a like cultural sense, in a watching YouTube sense, hang around me in the sense that they, you know, view me as a part of their herd. They view me as like, we share interests, and therefore I want to open up this interest share with you. But very rarely do I feel that anybody goes out of their way to like consume all the stuff that I'm interested in, but they always are just dying for the day that I get into whatever they're interested in. And I'm just telling you, it's never happening. Like, it's just not. If it didn't happen already, the chances of it happening later are less. So let me give you a few examples. Sonny Boy. When Sonny Boy came out, a lot of people recommended it to me and told me, you should check out this anime. And I looked at the images of it, and I just thought, this doesn't grab me at all. This doesn't look like my kind of thing. The name doesn't grab me. The art style doesn't grab me. The music, the tone, you know, from the trailers. And then when people tried to describe the show to me, nobody could fucking describe it, you know? I'm like, well, I don't want to watch something that you can't even determine what is the value of it, you know? Like, you keep telling me it's valuable, but nobody can explain how it's valuable. And so it gave me this feeling of like, people are hoping I'm going to be able to explain it. Like, people are hoping I'm going to watch it and I'm going to get it. And so I'm going to do a big analysis on it. And like, odds are that's not the case. Like, plenty of times that people have felt that way. It's just, it's to me like off-putting, you know, because if I think I'm going to be able to analyze a show, I can usually tell right away, you know. I can usually feel it just in the aesthetics. I always knew I was going to write about Evangelion. It took a long time for me to do it, but I always knew I was going to do it. Is there a strong chance that maybe one day I'll, like, again watch Sangatsu no Lion and maybe write about it? Not really. Like, even though I consider it, like, my favorite anime, I don't see how I would make, like, money off of that, really. It wouldn't, I don't think it would give me as much as I got out of already having seen it. You know, like, I feel like I got what I needed out of that show, and, like, explaining it for the audience won't give them more than just watching the show will. So it's not something I would do. So, like, it's just, it feels like in the audience's mind, there's an expectation that I am still planning to eventually cover all the anime. And, like, I don't care. I have none of that expectation. I have no plans for covering anime. None. I do it when I feel like it. I watch a show, I get an idea, I talk about it. Why do I watch a show? Usually because something captured my attention about it. Either the aesthetics grabbed me, the plot description grabbed me, or somebody else grabbed it. Like, a lot of the anime I've watched in the last 4 or 5 years has been because of Bird, that he is more likely to take an interest in a new anime and start watching it, and then I might take an interest because he's taken an interest in it. But, like, on my own, I'm not going out of my way to investigate new shows unless they have a really interesting art style. You know, this year, I think it was this year that I watched Momentary Lily episode, and I watched the first 2 episodes. I talked about them because I had ideas. I watched episode 3, no ideas. Episode 4, I dropped the show. I don't feel compelled about it, you know? So is there a chance I'll pick it up again? Almost none. Almost zero chance that's happening, you know, because those videos got no views. So it was entertaining for the people who watched them, you know, like, those videos did something for me and something for the audience, not enough to justify talking about it if I didn't have an inspiring thought about the next episode. There's no reason to force it. It's done. It's over. That's that. That's my approach to this. There is no feeling of, oh, but I need to go back eventually. And no, it's done. It's gone. I don't care anymore. I don't like Precure. Like, I liked Heartcatch Precure because I liked the character designs in Heartcatch Precure. None of that translates to any of the... I've seen, like, little bits of every time one comes out, I watched, like, the first episode or a try. Usually I can't even make it, like, 5 minutes in. I'm just like, no. I literally just like the art style of Umakoshi. It had nothing to do with anything about Precure. I wanted to promote Precure early on because nobody was talking about it in the anime sphere, and it was like this thing that I wanted to hear people talk about. And now, guess what? There's a ton of people talking about Precure. There's whole channels dedicated to it in English, There's people who've seen every single one, who have all these opinions about it, and those people will be like kind of like recommending, Precure to me, and I'm just like, y'all, it's never happening. I'm never watching Precure. It's not good. I'm probably never watching Ojamajo Doremi, and I know it's good. But, like, if I watched 3 episodes and I knew it was good, and then I went, maybe I'll finish it one day, guess what? That's never happening. The reason I'm making this video, I was inspired by a comment left by Mercury Falcon, who is a great YouTuber who covers lots of classic anime, especially stuff from, like, 60s, 70s, 80s, and who knows tremendously more about anime history than I do. I don't know why. Like, I don't know where you get your information from. I just watch YouTube videos. So for me, for the most part, like, I know aspects of anime history from being around anime, from being around, like seeing an amount of shows, doing my own research into who worked on those shows, sometimes looking up interviews, or just it comes through my Twitter timeline, my Blue Sky timeline now, since I'm banned from Twitter, or it comes through YouTube videos. And to me, always, YouTube video has been the final form of information about anime. Like, if it hasn't made it to YouTube video form yet, it might as well not exist. Like, what the fuck? Why would you talk about anime in a format other than video? It is a audio-visual medium. Why would you not talk about it in audio visuals? I'll tell you why, because YouTube's going to take your fucking video down. You're going to run into all the copyright issues I've run into. And so the truth is, it's not worth talking about anime. It's a bad idea, and you should really try to find something else you could do with your time, because anime is not going to respect you. It's not going to pay you. It's not going to take care of you. The culture won't even like you. It will constantly blame you for everything you don't know. It will constantly cred check you. The culture of anime sucks. I would not want to be a part of it, and I wouldn't encourage you to. But I am a part of it because I grew up here. This is my culture, and that's why I have to be straight with you. I can't be like, I can't just, blow off anime. I'm in it. I'm a part of it. I'm wearing the style, I'm in this thing. But you have to pull your weight too. You can't rely on me to be your analysis, like the anime analysis, and you can't rely on, like, if you're not willing to, at the very least, go to my video where I name every worthwhile anime YouTube channel and go discover those channels and bug them about watching the shows you want them to watch. Okay, I didn't even break down what this Mercury Falcon comment is. Basically, every time I talk about anything historical from the period that Mercury Falcon knows about, they will leave a comment explaining everything I got wrong. And my feeling is always like, why don't you have a video about this? Because how the fuck do you know this stuff? I don't know how you know this stuff. I don't know where you're getting the information. Even if it's just watching old shows. How do you even know about the old shows? Who told you to go watch these old shows? I don't know any of that. I just watch YouTube and go on Blue Sky. That's it. That's the full extent of what I'm doing with my time. I go on YouTube, I watch Blue Sky. I go on Blue Sky, I watch YouTube. And then sometimes somebody gets me to like go watch an anime or play a video game through those platforms. But like, if you're not making it a YouTube video, why would you think I would know any of this stuff? In particular, what this comment came down to was Mercury Falcon was like, why don't you like watch all of Gundam, and then you'll be able to talk about Gundam and its history perfectly. And I'm like, that's insane. That is an insane thing to ask somebody to do, to watch Gundam. I don't know if you just mean the original, or even if you just mean UC Century Gundam, but like, I never thought I would like Gundam. I grew up with Gundam. I had no interest in it for a long time. A long time. So let me explain to you why I have an interest in Gundam at all today. When I was a kid, there was Gundam Wing, and every time it was on, I didn't understand it. I couldn't tell what was going on, didn't connect with it. It seemed like it was for older teens, not for me. And then both Stardust Memory and the original show started airing on Adult Swim, and the original show, the dub was super obnoxious, so I couldn't get into it. And 0080 was, again, above my head. Just too complicated. I couldn't really process what I was seeing. Then they brought over Mobile Fighter G Gundam a couple of years later, and that was when I finally was able to get into it. But it really wasn't even that I loved G Gundam. It was that my older cousin loved it, and he bought some of the model kits, and he, the hot-blooded energy of it is really what got to him. He liked that kind of, fighting spirit, shining finger, So to us, it was the Shining Finger anime. And I don't even think I saw more than like half of it when it was actually on Cartoon Network. I don't know if they aired the whole thing, frankly. I'm sure I hadn't seen almost anything from the second half until later on. Then they started airing Gundam Seed, and I thought, this thing looks like shit. It is fuck ugly. I am never watching this. Gundam sucks. And then when I got into fan-subbed anime was when Gundam 00 was coming out. And I thought, oh, this is like yaoi bait, or fangirl trash. And at this point, my idea of Gundam, my conception of it, was that it had been at one point this serious sci-fi show that in the 90s became this Bishonen thing. And that's when it became a hit, because that's when it hit my radar. That's when magazines started talking about it and giving me Gundam history. So I'd learned what Gundam history I did know from, like, little articles in Anime Invasion magazine. These magazines don't exist anymore. The only one that's left is a dog shit. So you won't get that kind of information out of anime magazines anymore. Where are you getting it now? I literally don't know. Now, in my late teens, my brother Victor got super into robots, particularly because of Gurren Lagann. And so he started going and watching a lot of the old robot anime, and he got into stuff like Gao Gaigar and like all kinds of, obscure mecha. So I started to live with mecha. Victor used to have a shelf in his room covered in mecha, So I knew about mecha culture. And then there's the fact that my mentor, Ghost Lightning, is also a huge mecha fan and was Macross his favorite anime of all time. And he's an obsessive Macross fanboy. And he had never gotten into Gundam because his perception of it, like mine, had been stuff like Wing. But then he ended up, through one of his friends who was, I think, literally under the name Mecha Fetish at the time, who was, like, deeply into Gundam, had rewatched these shows and knew all the shows. And he was the one who got Ghost Lightning to get into Gundam. And so he developed this love-hate relationship with it that he would blog about. And he blogged his way through most of the Gundam series. So I read about all of them through Ghost Lightning's perspective. And most of the time, he was finding the lovable elements, but a lot of the Gundam shows are trash in a lot of different ways. Sometimes lovable trash, sometimes hateable trash. And he would also get into arguments, in the comments with the fans. So, like, if you read these things, don't just read the articles, read the long discussions that I read all this, so I have a semblance of what Gundam is in my head. When I visited Ghost Lightning in the Philippines, he literally explained the whole UC storyline to me, all of it. I had not seen anything. I had not seen the movies. I had not seen anything from UC. So he explained UC to me. If he had not done that, I don't think I could have followed the movies. Because people don't realize, like, how much I don't care about plot. Like, I feel like I've made it clear a billion times, but it's hard for me to follow the actual plot of a thing. I just care about the emotions and the themes more than anything. So, like, when I finally saw the 0079 movie trilogy is when I finally appreciated, like, oh, okay, I see what's good about this. I understand the quality of Gundam. I had also seen Char's Counterattack, just because my cousin had it on DVD, so I'd seen that as a kid. And that was, like, the one that I had liked in the sense that it had cool action scenes, but, like, I didn't understand what the fuck was going on in it at all, obviously. After seeing the original trilogy films, I saw, like, 10 episodes of Zeta when Victor was watching it, but, I didn't end up watching the whole thing. I saw the F91 movie just because I watched every anime that came out in 1991 at some point. I forgot to mention SD Gundam Force was also on TV during like the same period of time as G Gundam, so there was like a double association of Gundam being like more of a kid's thing, and my brother Victor had also been into SD Gundam Force, so I guess he was into Gundams actually even before Gurren Lagann, just not that deeply yet, and we also had Zoids and shit growing up, and he had Bionicles even before that. I guess Victor's just always been a robots kid. I was never into robots. It's never been, I liked Beast Wars, but that's because they transform into animals, so like, for me, it's always been about evolution and transformation. I like transforming heroes, I just like the concept of a transforming hero beyond anything else. So, like, the robot, there's an aspect of that, but it doesn't hit for me the same way. So being that I have so much exposure to Gundam, it would be weird if I never talked about Gundam at all. Like, if I had no opinion about anything Gundam, because I've got tons of exposure to it. I have more knowledge than the average person has who has not seen any of Gundam, So if somebody who doesn't know any Gundam at all comes to me and is like, tell me a Gundam story, I can tell you a Gundam story. But if I'm trying to speak to somebody who knows at all more about Gundam than me, they're immediately going to be like, well, actually, the truth is that it... And I'm like, I don't care, because if I did, I would have watched Gundam. I would have sat down and watched it all already. I've had the opportunity the whole time. It's always been available to me. I haven't done it because I don't enjoy it. I like the original show more than I thought I would. But I started watching it episode by episode for the sake of the We Watch Anime podcast show, where the idea was that Bird and I are revisiting classics from each era of anime so that I could get him caught up on all of this anime history. And I specifically chose shows that I didn't know well enough or like wanted to revisit, like Gundam, where it's like, yeah, I know the trilogy, but I want to see the original show. And so it was a fun thing for us to watch together and discuss and talk about with the audience. Me just sitting down casually marathoning Gundam is not going to do anything for me. It's not going to fucking give me anything socially. It's not something I'm doing with my husband. It's not something I'm doing with the internet. What the fuck is the point? I don't want to watch Gundam. Why would I do that? Unless Bird wanted to watch Gundam. Unless my audience was desperately clawing for Gundam videos, but like they perform okay, like it's more like a curiosity to me. It's not my universe, and like I don't understand why people would expect me to watch Gundam or want me to watch Gundam. You're not gonna like what I have to say about it. You're not going to like that I'm never going to understand the plot on the detail level that you care about it. Because I only care about the emotions and the themes. So I'll never be able to describe what happened at Aobawa Q. I know it's a fucking battle. I don't know what happens in it. And I never will, because I can't connect data points that way. I just know, like, there's a thing called that in Gundam. Something happened there, I'm sure. It took so much mental power. I was so proud of myself for remembering that the colony at the start is called Side 7 in my last video. I was like, yeah, I used... That's right, I said Side 7. I know Gundam. Like, I'm never going to get into Gundam. So, why would you want me to be the one to do that? Why would you let me occupy all the space of Gundam discussion on YouTube? Why isn't there tons of it? And like, shout out Pyramid Inu for being my favorite creator who has talked about Gundam and who is very reasonable about it while also being clearly into robots, like liking mecha, not just talking about it because it's anime and it exists, but because she likes mecha anime. Mercury Falcon loves Gundam and has seen Gundam, and so should make a Gundam video for everybody else to now understand what you see in it and what makes it worth watching. Or at the very least, to be incapable of ever getting things wrong, because we now have the information that you could pack into fucking 35 minutes instead of me having to watch 7,000 episodes of 80 years of a goddamn franchise that I don't even like. It's crazy to me that people come to me asking me to watch their favorite show instead of coming to me to watch my favorite show. And I know that is a substantial part of my audience. I know the ones who are watching this and who are just kind of clapping along, at what I'm doing to the other part of the audience. A lot of my audience, especially in the beginning, I was a brony YouTuber. I wasn't an anime YouTuber. When I started talking about anime, I did not attract an anime fan audience. I just simply got the bronies into anime. And so for a long time, the core of my audience, their taste was just whatever I had recommended them. And so when I started getting correspondence where people are sending me their 3x3s, it's just my 3x3, it's just Kill La Kill, and it's almost always Kill La Kill is in there, but it's the shows that I recommended, and then other things that you would find out about if you started participating in the communities that surround those shows. So it was so obvious that okay, these people came to me, they heard what I said, and they found that same joy because they think similarly to how I do, and I became their critic. I became, okay, well, whatever I like, I should check out. And whatever I don't like, maybe I'll question if I'm going to check out, or at the very least, I know I can come back here and somebody else who sees the world the same way I do can explain why I didn't like it. It would do nothing for those people who definitely, okay, Ellen Horai, right, who is my admin, she hates Gundam. She doesn't like the original show. She doesn't like anything about Gundam. So, it won't do anything for her for me to watch or talk about Gundam. She would probably stop being a fan if, I committed a whole year to talking about nothing but Gundam. She'd be out. Umineko comes first. Obviously. Hidamari Sketch comes first. Obviously. Fucking Kill La Kill comes again and again and again before Gundam. I'll make 12 more years of videos about this fucking show before I'm going to ever finish Gundam. I'll watch Kill La Kill I'll watch Ponyo 800 times before I will ever finish Gundam. I'm never going to watch your favorite anime. Unless it's one of those 4 I just named, there's maybe a stronger shot. You've got a better shot at convincing me I need to rewatch Kill La Kill or Ponyo and talk about it again than you do have convincing me to watch literally anything you want me to watch. Go make your own video about it. Or go watch the 2-hour video somebody else made about Sonny Boy. That's probably the best analysis anyone's ever going to do on it. Until Amy makes hers, and then you'll have 2 of them. But, you're never getting one from me. I'm probably not going to watch Odd Taxi. It just doesn't look interesting to me. I get why people think it would be interesting to me. It just doesn't, I don't look at it and think, ooh, that looks cool. I look at it and think, oh, yeah, okay, I can see why people like that, I'm never going to watch Severance. I've listened to my parents watch it. I've listened to Bird watch it. I'm okay, I get what that's doing. Not interesting to me. Most things really are. I'm not I watch mostly YouTube videos. Again, if you're not going to put it in a YouTube video, don't expect me to know about it. Okay, I'm going in circles at this point. So thanks for listening, and let me know in the comments how many of your favorite anime you're disappointed to realize I'm never going to watch, and that you're now going to make your own videos to explain to me why they're good, assuming I won't watch them. I watched the 2-hour Sunny Boy video. It was great. I'm not watching the show.